The competition and the end is upon us for Hibike. Day by day, we are getting closer and closer to the finale of this series and the finale of Spring 2015. It's kind of sad to see a lot of these good anime finally coming to an end, and Hibike is no exception to that. It's very shocking because Hibike was a series I didn't expect to actually entertain me as much as it did. I mean, I know it's by KyoAni, and usually I watch KyoAni stuff. I always, finish out their series they make, but usually, you would think a series that's kind of wrapped around something like this, I might have, been kind of not entertained by it. But, shockingly enough, I've been very entertained by Hibike for weeks now. I really have. I've loved the circumstances that have been taking place in the series, especially with the characters, to even Salt-chan. Even though I hate Salt-chan, I hate her character, she, made it very interesting with her character's drama and stuff like that. And so, I'm gonna miss this series when it does come to an end very soon, because I've enjoyed this way more than I thought I would actually enjoy it. So this episode of Hibike, we're getting closer and closer to the competition. It is upon us, and next week, most likely, it's going to begin the competition for our characters. And at this moment, this episode is kind of like our characters working for their final stretch, like the final stretch before the competition. Like Kumiko in this episode, she has to come to terms that she needs to train. She needs to be a lot better. For instance, she needs to do her damn hardest to practice and become a better player at her instrument, because she was having issues throughout this entire episode. Like, she could not play the part properly, and the sensei kept asking her, like, can you play this part in time before, the competition? She's like, yes, I can. But as the episode carried on, you see how he had to exclude her from the club when they were doing the musical instruments and when they were playing. He had to exclude her because she was messing up the sound of the entire, group. And so to see that, it goes to show you what type of situation Kumiko is in at the moment. She really has to practice to get better, and the question is she going to get better just in time? Because Hibike has kind of kept to a realistic nature, actually. If you think about it, I mean, a couple of the characters that just began playing their musical instruments was casted out of the group for the competition. We saw that. A bunch of characters, even our mains, were kind of just cast aside because they've only started for about a couple weeks, a month or two, and then they got into an audition competition and stuff like that, and they got casted aside. So I'm glad Hibike sticks to a realistic type nature, so it makes me wonder, can Kumiko overcome this, and can she be a lot better to where she can actually play in the competition, or is she going to hold back everybody in the competition? Regardless of whatever happens, though, I feel like this episode served a really good purpose for character development for Kumiko, because there's two different points in this episode that fuel her character development. For one, right at the beginning, we come to see some similarities of what happened with one of our fellow club members that, quit the club because they did not have the time and they wanted to study for college and university and stuff like that. We saw one of our club members quit multiple episodes ago, and it caused a lot of drama. Well, we come to find out, Kumiko has a very similar circumstance with her sister. For instance, her sister was in a similar situation to where she gave up playing because she wanted to study for her university, her college, and so she just gave up playing music at all. And Kumiko took it upon herself to carry on her sister's legacy and play the musical instruments. And then eventually, in this episode, she comes to find out she really has a lot of fun playing her musical instrument. And to see that, it really goes to show you her connection, how much she has changed since the starting point of this series. But it goes to fuel her character drive. For instance, what drives her as a character to continue pushing forward. And then after that, we come to find out Reina's, audition she did in last week's episode, it also fueled Kumiko to where she wanted to practice so much more because of seeing the effort that Reina put into the audition. It made Kumiko want to try as hard as her. And so, right there, that was some more drive for her character in this episode. But there's one more point I do need to mention. The next point is Kumiko realizes the pain and suffering Reina went through in their first competition a long time ago, back in middle school. As we remember when the series first started off, in the first episode, you had to where Kumiko was very detached, and she was kind of very brutally honest, but she was very mean to Reina, and she couldn't really understand why Reina was so upset when she was crying because they lost and all that. And you come to find out in this episode, Kumiko she realizes now why Reina acted like that, because she really had so much fun playing him, and to see how her goal was just that far, it only made it that far, and it was just taken away from her, it upset her, and Kumiko experiences this exact same pain in this episode. So that, once again, other character development for Kumiko. So great episode for Kumiko, and I feel like we're getting into some really good stuff. Next week is probably going to be a very good episode. I'm expecting some great things from it. Tell me your thoughts. I mean, how do you all feel about, you know, Hibike? Did you enjoy it? How do you feel about, you know, this episode? Did you enjoy it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or not, wherever you live. See you next week. Please be safe. Chibi out.